Maybe we'll do it on the ground. Alright, we'll try gas in the big tank. I haven't put gas in it yet. I cleaned it a bit, but That's a pretty big single cylinder engine. That cylinder's got to be almost 10 inches in diameter if this is the head. Hi, my name is Paul and this is PJT Ventures. Join me while I ramble on like an empty dump truck. Today's ramble, we were fooling around with this old Fairbanks Morse Model Z. I think it's a 3 horsepower, and we got it running. I didn't think it was, I knew they were going to shake, but it didn't like sitting on the torch table there. Yeah, so I think it's a 1944. Here's the serial number, 856787, and yeah, it's pretty cool. This is a little fuel tank on this side that you would use to start the motor with, so you probably have like a higher grade of fuel here, and then you'd, once it was running and was hot, then you would close this guy, and then you would open this guy and draw from this larger tank down below. This, I had changed the oil and I cleaned the carburetor. One thing I don't really know, when I was fooling around with it, it was running really clean, and then of course I put this that whistle thing on there and was trying to make it make individual notes. But as soon as I did that, of course I was putting some resistance on the exhaust, and that made it then, I don't know if it changed something in how the crankcase is vented, but it then started pulling some engine oil, and was looked like it was burning engine oil. It also could have been maybe that it was warming up. It also could be that it's just really old. But one of the troubles I'm having is I don't actually know if this is the correct oil level or if this is the correct oil level. Now, when I found it, it was like this. So I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. I don't know if this is factory. So I don't really know how high the oil is supposed to be in here. So I think it might be over full. With that being said, I did kind of tip it up just a little bit. I haven't drained it yet, but I think I'll drain the oil, and maybe in the comments, if you guys know an actual amount of oil that it's supposed to have, because this just seems like, I don't know, that's not waterproof. You'd think there'd be like a little kind of dust cap or rain cap on there, but maybe not. Anyways, it ran really good. It didn't like when I restricted its exhaust with plugging it with this horn. This, I thought this was, I'd been given this by a close family friend, and we always thought that it was a steam whistle. I mean, I'm sure you could use it as a steam whistle, but I did some reading about them, and they were more of an automotive whistle or horn, and they were put in line with your car or your truck's exhaust system. And so you would be driving along, and you would pull on a lever or a cable, and the cable would then redirect your vehicle's exhaust into this as like a, instead of having like an electric horn or a but anyways, so that's really cool. It did sound really neat on there. I'd seen some guys do this online, where they put the where they put it on different vehicles and whatnot. It actually sounds really neat when it's on a V8, because you can, when the V8 is idling, you can actually hear the individual cylinders, whereas this one, it's still kind of neat. But anyways, pretty cool engine. Now, of course, we went and looked at a current large single cylinder engine. Now that was an Aero. That thing has 327 cubic inches. 327 cubic inches in a single cylinder. Like, it's a big thing. Its actual bore is smaller than I thought. It's 7-inch bore. So still, that's a pretty big bore, and it's 8-inch stroke. But yeah, 327 cubic inches. It's rated at I think 24 horsepower, and it just sits there and putts away running that big pumping jack. But anyways, this was a fun little thing. I'm gonna have to find something to run with it. It had I'll go see if I can find it. Just give me 1 sec here. Okay, so this is what it had. It was in an old shop, and it was actually running this old air compressor, and it still works. I mean, it still makes compressed air. I mean, this is pretty, if you watch here, it's pretty, I don't know if you can see that, but there's considerable wear on these old bearings. But yeah, it's so maybe I'll build a skid for it, and it can be an air compressor again. But anyways, I did actually struggle with everybody online. Everybody online makes it so easy to start. When I started it, it had this. Everybody they just turn it backwards, and away it goes. And so mine came with this crank. I mean, it's got like a spring-loaded release, but it got stuck on there the one time and was whirring around, and a couple of times it flew off and like whacked me. And so, I mean, it's it's not exactly the most user-friendly. Maybe if I go through it and get it all tuned up, maybe mine will also start just by turning it over. But anyways, pretty cool piece. Pretty excited it got running, and I'd love to maybe I'll mount it on something and have a bunch of different features, because it runs too good to not use for something. Anyways, thanks again for joining me, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.